Hello everyone and welcome to Burn Your Books, Open Your Mind. I am your friend and host BYBOYM and you are watching Foundation for NEET. We have already started with the first chapter in our course, that is Life Processes, Digestion and Absorption. Today we are going to begin with the 8th topic, Mode of Nutrition in Unicellular Organisms. So in today's class we are going to understand about the mode of nutrition in unicellular organisms. So for unicellular organism, we have taken the example of amoeba and paramecium. What is a unicellular organism? Unicellular means one cell. So these are organisms that are made up of single cell, that is one cell. We are saying that an amoeba is a protist and it has heterotrophic Holozoic mode of nutrition. What is heterotrophic Holozoic mode of nutrition? Heterotrophic means they are dependent on other organisms for their food. In contrast, autotrophic organisms are those which produce their own food, such as green plants that we studied about in photosynthesis. Amoeba has no definite shape, and since it is a single celled organism, there are no specific organs for specific functions. We said that the amoeba is a protist. But what is a protist? You may remember that there are 6 kingdoms in biology. The first kingdom is the archaebacteria, which comprises of primitive bacteria. The second is eubacteria or true bacteria. The third is protist. And the fourth is fungi. The fifth is plantae and the sixth is animalia. This amoeba belongs to the third kingdom, Protista. They are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. There are 5 steps in nutrition in amoeba. The first step is ingestion, the second is digestion, the third is absorption, the fourth is assimilation, and the fifth is egestion. The first step in nutrition in amoeba is ingestion. What is ingestion? Amoeba does not have a fixed cell shape. It has temporary finger-like extensions, which you can see on the screen, and these are extensions of plasma membrane. These are known as pseudopodia and they fuse over the food particle, forming a food vacuole. The amoeba engulfs a food particle with the help of pseudopodia. The second step is digestion. Digestion means breaking down of large biomolecules into smaller biomolecules. Since in amoeba the digestion is happening inside the cell, it is known as intracellular digestion. So as soon as the food particle is engulfed, it will form a food vacuole inside the amoeba. And inside the food vacuole, digestion would happen, the breaking down of the organism or whatever food particle amoeba has engulfed, the breakdown of the particles into simpler particles so that they can be absorbed. So our next step would be absorption, which simply is the diffusion of digested food into the cytoplasm. So in the case of amoeba, absorption is nothing else but simply the diffusion of digested food particles into the cytoplasm. This takes us to the fourth step, which is assimilation. Assimilation is basically the utilization of absorbed food. A number of activities that the cell will perform would require the expenditure of energy. Energy needs to be spent for the cell to function and to maintain its integrity and its internal environment. So assimilation is the utilization of absorbed food so that whatever energy requirements of the cell are there, they are met. Now the fifth step and the final step is egestion. So once the amoeba has assimilated, some metabolic waste would be produced, and also not all of the food particle would be consumed, but some undigested material would remain. This undigested material would be thrown out in a process known as egestion, and this happens through a vacuole. Now let's take a summary of the process of nutrition in amoeba, let's take a look at the 5 steps. The first step was ingestion, or simply the taking in of food particle through pseudopodia. The second was digestion, that is, once a food vacuole forms, all the material that was ingested needs to be digested, broken down into simpler components. The third step is absorption, which in the case of amoeba is simply the diffusion of digested food into the cytoplasm. Assimilation is the utilization of absorbed food to meet energy requirements, while egestion was throwing out of the undigested material through a vacuole. Now this brings us to our next organism, that is paramecium. In the case of paramecium, in contrast to amoeba, it has a definite shape. So it has a definite shape and a definite structure through which it engulfs food, and that structure is mouth or cytostome, which lies at the bottom of the buccal cavity. The entire cell surface in the case of paramecium is covered with cilia, and these cilia help to move the food towards the cytostome so that the paramecium can engulf it. Now the food is taken through a food vacuole, and the undigested material is egested out through a definite structure known as cytopyge or anal spot. So in contrast to amoeba, which do not have a fixed shape, this paramecium have a fixed shape and fixed structure through which it takes in food particles and through which it excretes out the waste particles. The first structure of importance is cytostome or mouth, and the next structure of importance is cytopyge, through which undigested food material is excreted out. I hope you liked the video. You are watching Burn Your Books, Open Your Mind.